Good morning, everyone. Today we'll begin by focusing on your project manager, which is actually your liver. Yesterday, we examined how the body processes the food we eat within the gastrointestinal tract and how nutrients enter the bloodstream. Now we'll explore what happens after these nutrients have entered the blood. Your liver is like the construction site's project manager. It decides where the breakdown products of our meals end up. Located under your right rib, the liver is unique in its ability to regenerate and is also our largest internal organ. Often called the master chemist, it plays a vital role in transforming and neutralizing potentially harmful substances. This is your second day on the juice fast, meaning your liver is shifting into a new phase of detoxification. Before we dive into what that entails, let's first review how the liver handles the food you consume. Never in human history have people eaten so many carbohydrates. Wherever I travel, whether in England, Scotland, Australia, or the United States, folks are consuming enormous amounts of carbohydrates. Cereal is the most popular breakfast food. The evidence is right in the grocery store aisles, where boxes of cereal fill entire sections. It's a convenient meal. Pour cereal into a bowl, add milk, and it's ready to eat within seconds. Because many people go to bed late, they have limited time in the morning, so they look for quick breakfasts. Toast or bread is another shortcut. Since cereal and toast do not provide lasting energy, people often look for cakes, cookies, and donuts by mid-morning. In some places, meat pies are a similar grab-and-go option. Europeans introduced pizza, another rapid choice meal. Pasta has become a staple in nearly every household. Rice, too, is now very common, though in past decades, it was less so in certain cultures. My husband, who is Irish, insists that potatoes must feature in every dinner. In some regions, fried potatoes, chips, or French fries are also everywhere. And sugar, concentrated from the sugarcane plant, is yet another factor. Clearly, we've become heavy consumers of carbohydrates. One reason is convenience. Modern life leaves people with minimal spare time, making quick, accessible foods attractive. As we saw previously in your gastrointestinal tract, these carbohydrate foods ultimately break down into the same simple molecule, glucose. Once glucose is absorbed into the bloodstream, it travels on the main highway to the liver, the project manager. The journey of glucose. The liver decides the fate of glucose. First, it sends glucose to the body's central business district, the cells, where it is used as fuel. Upon entering a cell, glucose goes through a series of about 20 chemical reactions, resulting in a net gain of 2 units of energy. The end product here is pyruvate, which then enters an additional 8-step process, often referred to as the powerhouse. This second process generates approximately 36 units of energy. The big difference between these two pathways is oxygen. The first is anaerobic, without oxygen, and yields less energy, while the second requires oxygen and yields substantially more. We'll examine oxygen's role in detail tomorrow. For now, know that the first stop for glucose is to power your cells. But when you eat a high-carbohydrate diet, there's usually excess glucose left over. The liver then prompts the muscles to store extra glucose in small bundles, known as glycogen, a quick-release energy source. When you went on a walk this morning, despite having only broth last night and lemon water this morning, your muscles drew upon these glycogen reserves. On a high-carbohydrate diet, once the liver maxes out glycogen storage, it converts further surplus glucose into fat. This stored fat can accumulate to the point where weight becomes an issue. In modern times, many nutrition experts have told people to cut down on dietary fat to lose weight. Yet as basic biochemistry shows, the primary culprit is actually excess carbohydrate, which the body ultimately packages as fat. In the 1850s, a businessman named William Banting was gaining weight. He visited Dr. Claude Bernard, who unexpectedly advised him to cut all starches, carbohydrates. Banting ate ample vegetables, excluding high-starch potatoes, meat, butter, cream, cheese, fish, and poultry. He took in protein and healthy fats while removing most carbohydrate. The result? He lost weight rapidly, had plenty of energy, and wasn't hungry. Excited by his success, he wrote a paper outlining this new way of eating, which became widely known and adopted. Fast forward to the 1980s, and Dr. Robert Atkins appeared with a similar concept: dramatically reduce carb intake to force the body to tap into stored fat. Again, people following this approach found quick weight loss, high energy, and manageable hunger. Despite criticism from some, the public was enthusiastic because it worked. Today, many diet books, paleo, FODMAP, the Zone Diet, the Beach Diet, offer comparable advice. When Atkins delved deeper, he discovered that fiber, protein, and fat are the three essential food groups. Essential means the body cannot make these nutrients on its own. We must acquire them through our diet. Fiber sweeps the gastrointestinal tract, ensuring healthy elimination and providing high concentrations of nutrients. Protein is necessary to build and repair tissues, including DNA and cellular membranes. Fat is essential because half of every cell membrane in the body is composed of fat, and the brain requires even more. Consequently, fat is crucial for overall health and the uptake of fat-soluble vitamins. Atkins also found that carbs, starches, are non-essential, meaning we don't actually need large amounts of them, especially not in refined forms. Let's be clear, carbohydrates themselves aren't evil, but in modern diets, refined and excessive carbohydrate consumption can displace those essential nutrients, fiber, protein, and healthy fats, leading to numerous health issues. Negotiating carbs. Since carbohydrates are non-essential, we can adjust our intake based on factors like size, age, activity level, and health status. A tall, very active person needs more carbohydrate than a smaller individual who is sedentary. A pregnant or nursing mother requires more than someone who is neither. If you want to lose weight quickly, you would reduce carbs. To tackle diabetes, you also scale them back significantly. Cancer cells, for instance, thrive on glucose. They use up to 15 times the glucose of healthy cells. Cutting down on carbohydrates can help starve cancer cells by limiting their fuel supply, especially refined sugars and starches. A vegetarian approach. Many low-carb systems rely on animal products, but one might ask, can this be done on a vegetarian diet? Yes. Genesis 1:29 describes plant foods, grains, legumes, beans, seeds, nuts, fruits, and vegetables. Grains contain protein, but also tend to be high in carbohydrates. Legumes, beans, lentils, etc., provide good protein and significantly fewer carbs than grains. Seeds and nuts are high in protein and low in carbs. By boosting legumes, nuts, and seeds, while moderating grains, vegetarians can balance their protein, fiber, and fat with more controlled carbohydrate levels. Don't forget about portion sizes. Nuts, for instance, should generally be limited to about a small handful per meal. Larger individuals can manage more, smaller individuals fewer. Thus, a reasonable approach might be eat abundant vegetables for fiber, generous servings of legumes, nuts, and seeds for protein and healthy fats, and be judicious with grains to keep carbs in check. The cholesterol question. Many shy away from fats due to concerns about cholesterol. However, the majority of cholesterol your liver makes, around 60%, is derived from glucose and only about 20% from dietary fat. This points to carbohydrates, especially excess, as the bigger factor. The common theory that cholesterol and saturated fat cause heart disease has never been conclusively proven. Ancel Keys famously promoted this idea, yet his research was flawed and never definitively confirmed. More recent analyses show groups like the Maasai consume significant animal-based fats, yet have virtually no heart disease. Cholesterol itself is not inherently bad. There's HDL, high-density lipoprotein, often labeled good because it helps transport cholesterol away, and LDL, low-density lipoprotein, called bad, but which is actually necessary for repair and rebuilding. The key is understanding why LDL might accumulate in artery walls. Often, toxins like cigarette chemicals, mold spores, mercury, excess sugars, and alcohol damage arterial linings. LDL arrives to patch the holes. If these destructive factors continue unchecked, more LDL and debris accumulate until blockages can form. Thus, the real culprit in heart disease is arterial damage, not cholesterol itself. Some doctors have written extensively on this, debunking the simplistic notion that cholesterol sucks heart disease. Furthermore, driving cholesterol levels too low with medications can deprive the body of a crucial molecule. Statin drugs, for example, can block the pathway for not only cholesterol, but coenzyme Q10, an important heart protective enzyme. Side effects include cognitive issues, muscle breakdown, and even links to breast cancer. What is your liver doing today? On your second day of juice fasting, you're not supplying enough dietary glucose to meet all your energy needs. Consequently, your body begins breaking down stored fat, releasing both energy and any fat-soluble toxins locked in those reserves. Once these fat-soluble toxins re-enter the bloodstream, the liver must convert them into water-soluble substances for safe elimination. This process unfolds in 3 phases. Phase 1, the liver transforms the fat-soluble toxin into an intermediate metabolite. This substance can sometimes be more reactive and toxic than the original compound, producing free radicals. Phase 2, the liver binds the toxic metabolite with amino acids, turning it into a water-soluble compound. Adequate protein intake, amino acids, is critical here. Phase 3, the liver sends these water-soluble products out of the body through sweat, urine, and bowel movements. This explains why, during a fast, you might notice stronger body odor or breath and more pungent bathroom visits. It's evidence that toxins are being released. Make sure you drink plenty of water and support your colon function for efficient elimination. Using a steam bath or sauna can further help, as sweating removes additional toxins. We live in an era of significant chemical exposure, so our livers have to work harder than ever. With proper nourishment, antioxidants, beta-carotene, vitamin C with bioflavonoids, vitamin E, minerals, and B vitamins, the liver can safely keep detoxification running smoothly. Florence Nightingale observed that severely ill patients often recovered better when fed protein-rich beef tea or raw milk. These days, we might use pea protein powders or other plant-based protein sources instead. The principle remains the same. You need enough protein to help the liver safely bind and remove toxins. Fasting notes. In times past, a long fast might have been acceptable. But with the volume of environmental toxins we encounter today, a short fast, such as 2 days, or periodic short fasts, are often more suitable. Longer fasts can release so many fat-soluble toxins that they overwhelm phase 2 detoxification if protein is insufficient. A person might end up sicker than before. We had an individual come from abroad who had been on raw juices for 2 years and developed large breast tumors. Without sufficient protein to handle the toxin load, the body's tissues can actually become overloaded with toxic byproducts. Once she began consuming nutrient-dense, balanced meals, including legumes, some cooked vegetables, seeds, and nuts, the body responded positively. This shows that circumstances differ. A person carrying significant extra weight might benefit from a higher raw intake for a while. Someone very frail or ill may need some cooked foods for easier digestion. In all cases, adequate protein is essential for proper detoxification because amino acids are necessary for binding toxins in phase 2. One attendee once remarked, "This information is only for professionals, but everyone has a liver, so everyone should understand how it works. We need to ensure we eat enough fiber, protein, and healthy fats while moderating high carbohydrate foods. If you find legumes give you discomfort or excessive gas, proper preparation helps. Soak them, discard the first dirty water, and cook them with fresh water and seasonings to mitigate bloating. When handled correctly, legumes needn't cause digestive trouble and can be a healthful protein source." I'll let you take a break now. Thank you for your attention.